Welcome to Break Free to Brilliance podcast, empowering women in business through thought-provoking interviews and insights. Embrace your authentic power, explore the impact of your story, and discover how writing your best-selling book can amplify your message, authority, and the 3 I's: impact, influence, and income. Let each episode guide you towards brilliance in minutes. This is your host, Seema Giri. You know those moments in life when things line up in a way you couldn't have planned? This episode is one of those moments. I had no idea when I scheduled this episode about bold action that would land during the Navratri, a 9-day festival in our Indian culture that celebrates many forms of Goddess Durga. Each day represents a strength we all carry inside us, like courage, clarity, resilience, and compassion. Growing up in the US, Navratri for me was mostly a ritual. We did what our parents told us, and when I'd ask why are we doing these prayers? Why are these colors? And why this timing? The answers were never really clear enough to satisfy my curiosity. So what's really amazing is that all across India, Navratri is celebrated in very different way with vibrant colors and music and food, and it's just amazing. Now, as an adult and a parent of 2 amazing kids, I realized something powerful. While the tradition has a central theme around taking bold action, about compassion, and I also feel it's a journey that she takes from a young girl to a woman and into elder women with all of her wisdom. It's quite fascinating. There's so many different ways you can look at this and so many profound messages. I realized that the meaning is also up to our own interpretation. So just like personalized medicine, this is personalized faith. And I love that. And the way I live now isn't about just religious framework. It's about how I've interpreted through my own spiritual journey and how I apply this lesson to life, leadership, and business in a very practical way. So it's not just living it the 2 times of the year that it comes in, but every single day. And here's the part that's most important for you. What I love about this that even if you don't celebrate Navratri or you don't follow Hinduism or you're not an Indian, these lessons still apply because they're about human strengths. We all need to live boldly. Which brings me to today's conversation: how to break free from hesitations and take bold action. Even when you're scared, even when you feel unready, even when perfectionism is screaming at you to wait. I remember sitting alone in my home office late at night, staring at the blinking cursor on my computer. My first book was finished, and yet I froze. Not because the work was imperfect, but because a louder question loomed at me. Will anyone even care? Will they expect me to be brilliant? And what if I'm not enough? That raw pit in your stomach that can't breathe fear is something every entrepreneur, coach, author, and leader knows. I'm sure you do too. And here's what no one is talking about. Your audience doesn't want perfect. They don't want flawless. They want real. They want human. And they want connection. And the most profound lesson you can share from messy, lived experiences, not polished speeches. I've stood on stages, rebuilt businesses, coached leaders, and yes, spent months bedridden with autoimmune illness. And in every one of those moments, I've asked the same question: am I enough? And will this matter? The secret is this: the power isn't being impressive. The power is in showing up scared and taking bold actions. Let's start with why hesitation exists. Fear, perfectionism, overthinking, that small voice that whispers, maybe someone else should do this. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I'll fail. I cannot tell you the countless times that I have felt that, and I still feel that. Does this sound familiar to you? I remember launching my coaching business and then spending 3 months planning every single detail. Now, in my mind, I was telling that I was planning, I was being very meticulous, I wanted everything in the order that it needed to be so I could show up powerfully for my clients. Was it planning or was it procrastinating? I think it was a little bit of both, probably more procrastinating and needing to be perfect so that I don't fail. I thought I had to eliminate fear before moving forward. But the truth is that fear never goes away. You just learn to move forward anyway. You look at your past successes, how you have been able to come through with flying colors, even when you were scared. So I didn't realize that I was doing this until I saw Mel Robbins with her 5-second rule. How she comes in with everything. She feels a hesitation. She doesn't want to do something. She starts a countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then she moves forward. It's not about waiting to feel ready. It's about taking action. That tiny push is all that it takes to break your paralysis. I was counting 1, 2, 3, and look at that. That one small piece that we didn't even think it was significant. Mel Robbins took that, wrote it into a book, and became famous with that one technique. We have these amazing wisdoms and techniques that we use in our everyday life, but find them to be insignificant. So here's a framework I use in my own life and with my clients. This is a 3-step bold action framework. It works every single time. Step 1 is to clarify your next move. Don't start with a 5-year plan. Start with one actionable step. When I had to quit my corporate job because of my autoimmune illness, my identity felt like it shattered. So I wrote down one thing I could do today to reclaim control. Not 10, just one. And that clarity creates focus. And focus creates courage. The one thing that I had to do that day to get through was to rest and focus on me. I remember thinking, if I just do one breathing exercise today, maybe I'll feel human again. That was my bold action. If someone had told me that drinking water and getting out of bed counted as a bold action, I would have laughed. That became my reality. And that's how real momentum starts. Big goals are terrifying. You want to write a book, launch a summit, it might feel too much. But starting with writing a page, then 2 pages, then 3 pages, before you know it becomes a chapter. You want to do a whole series of YouTube videos? It starts with that first 5-minute video. And that's doable. That's what I was thinking. That held me back for so long. I have 189 videos on YouTube from my summit, my podcast, to the shorts. So be sure to check that out on YouTube. My channel is called Break Free to Brilliance. Every micro action compounds. When I planned my first summit, my bold action was emailing one speaker. My second bold action was to email someone who is very well known. That one email snowballed into a full booked event. So nothing moves you faster than accountability. And the other thing I've realized is that nothing moves you faster than accountability. Tell someone about it. Say yes before you're ready. Say yes and then figure it out. I once agreed to be a speaker at an event that really terrified me. But because I said yes out loud, I had no choice but to rise to it. And that's where the magic happens. Sometimes my accountability partner is my dog. His judgmental stare says, "Get it done, human," and it works every time. I want you to think of it this way. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a signal of growth. When it shows up, it's pointing you exactly where you need to go. During my autoimmune recovery, bold action didn't mean launching programs. It meant survival, honoring my body, taking one deep breath, one sip of water, one stretch at a time, and one positive thought and small increments of compassion for myself. That's the principle you can use in business and life. You don't need to do it all at once. You just start where you are, and momentum builds from there. Remember, you can always use my 1 to 3 method to get into action. Or if you need longer time, you can use Mel Robbins' 5-second rule and count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you move and take that action. I can't stress enough to you that momentum matters. This is how I help my client write books. If they want to write a book, step 1 is to think of your why. Step 2 is to create the outline. Step 4 is to start writing with what inspires you on that day. You don't have to write in a linear way. That's a big misconception. What I find people doing is that they think of something and they get into execution. They forget the strategy part and the planning part. Those two things can really save you so much time and effort. This is where I see people go wrong. They come up with an idea and go straight into execution. They miss out on the strategy and the planning part. I know it takes longer, and I'm impatient too. When I think of something, I just want to get into it. But trust me, when you include the strategy and the planning part, you're going to save yourself a lot of grief, a lot of time, less chaos, and it'll help you get over that fear because you're going in a logical, step-by-step manner. That's what systems help you with. It helps you calm your nerves down so you can just focus on what you need to focus on. I've messed up too. I've sent the wrong email. I've overcomplicated launches, but every single time it was bold action that created results, not perfection. The other day, one of my team members said, the subtitle is too high on the video. Under normal circumstances, it would have really bothered me and I would have gone and looked. But my instant reaction was, "Thanks for letting me know. Perfection is not required. Done is better than perfect." And this is coming from someone who was such a perfectionist. I would lose weeks and months and miss out on posting things and releasing videos because of that perfection. Then I would be like, I've missed the time. The boat has sailed. It won't make sense to put this in now. I have 189 videos on YouTube, but I have probably 300 that have never been published. And I don't want to do that. So here's your challenge. Pick one bold action today, write it down, commit to it, and do it. Remember, just one, especially you overachievers, just one. Write it down, commit to it, and do it. And as I close this episode, I can't help but smile on the timing. The fact that this conversation is landing during Navratri feels like divine alignment, because Navratri is about recognizing that you already have the strength inside you, whether it's courage, clarity, or resilience. You don't need to earn it. You just need to choose it. You don't have to be perfect to make an impact. You just have to be bold enough to show up and to show up authentically. I believe in you. Let your bold action today be the spark of your brilliance. Thank you for listening to Break Free to Brilliance podcast. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with someone who is ready to take bold action. Please leave a review if this episode inspired you. I would love to hear in the comments about how you took your bold action and what was one key takeaway from this episode. I read every single comment. Until next time, own your story, live unapologetically, and take one bold step forward. And I want to take a moment to mention that the content shared in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. My guests and I share personal experiences and real life examples that have helped us live our best lives, much like friends sharing stories. While we strive to provide valuable information, it's important to consult with professionals for advice tailored to your individual circumstances. Thank you for being part of our community, and thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, your story is your strength. Until next time, stay inspired and keep making a difference. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Break Free to Brilliance podcast, and I hope you had some key takeaways that you can implement right away. Be sure to subscribe to Break Free to Brilliance wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow along with us on social media using the links in the show notes below. We'll see you again for the next episode.